So, WandaVision just ended, and as many other Marvel fans, I have my theories, questions, and criticisms about the show. First of all, I want to state how awesome WandaVision was. I really like the show, but it's not perfect. It has a lot of things that I want to talk about, and including plot points, some things about the pacing, and that's what we're going to do today while reviewing the show. So, overall, WandaVision picks off after the events of Infinity War, following Wanda Maximoff's story after the events of Endgame and Infinity War, those the two final Avengers movies. She loses her love interest, Vision, which is what the show is all about. It's her coping with her grief and kind of creating this like pocket reality in order to feel safe. And by the way, I'm gonna go into spoilers, so if you haven't seen the show, skip right ahead to the ending. But yeah, so overall, yeah, Vision dies during the events of Infinity War, and on my first, I made a video when the first two episodes came out with my theories, and some of my theories became correct. Mostly that one that Wanda was creating this whole reality on her own with no experiments involved. Only Sword was there to kind of like control the situation, assess what's going on, and kind of save the residents of Westview that she had under her control, kind of like as meat puppets, as Agnes described later on in the show. So I loved a lot of the things about it. I loved the plot. I loved the pacing in the middle episodes. First of all, I'm going to talk about the pacing. I think the show only works during the context of the MCU. I think the beginning, for people who are not familiar with Marvel, who watch this are probably going to be very confused in the beginning, and it might turn off a lot of viewers, which is not a problem if you are already caught up with the events of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But for newcomers, it can be a problem because the first few episodes are really confusing. They're really like strange without any context, like the 50s TV stuff and the 70s and whatever. It has a lot of hints that something is wrong, but it's only until episode 4 that we really get an idea of what's going on. When Jimmy Woo is introduced and Darcy, Monica Rambeau, like these characters are kind of there to give the viewers an understanding of what's going on. And I love the middle episodes. I think the middle was the best in the show, like those like episodes 4 through I think like 6 and 7. Those were that was like the high peak of the show. And also episode 7 was amazing. The show goes really deep also into like Wanda and Vision's past. Like that's something I never expected to see on the show. I thought there couldn't be more to be told with their story, like pre Infinity War, like during the events of Civil War. That was like a really interesting time, and I'm glad they covered that in episode 7 mostly. Kind of like the whole episode is kind of dedicated to Agnes kind of like showing Wanda her past and trying to discover her powers, which I'm going to talk about this character later on. I think Agnes, or spoilers, Agatha Harkness is a really interesting character that we get to see a lot of. And overall, the show really plays well with mystery. I like the way the writers kind of like used all of the like the tools they had at their disposal to create the story. But yeah, the beginning could have been better, and I'm going to talk about the ending later. I'm going to leave the ending until the last because that's where I have the most thoughts of. But I feel like Vision, they did a great job with Vision. Like, I don't know, I wasn't sure how they were going to pull off since he was dead. I had a lot of theories during the middle episodes. I thought Wanda actually captured Vision's body. She was kind of like using like transforming his dead body into her construct, but overall they came up with something wildly different. Vision was actually just a construct out of like nothing from Wanda's memories, and that includes also her children. And I thought that was weird, but it kind of worked in a strange way. Like it was Vision, but not really Vision. I don't know if you understand me, but if you watch the show, you know what I'm talking about. And it's a really good way to kind of like explain the story, because the real Vision kind of comes in at the end, and he transforms into White Vision, which is like an evil version of Vision controlled by a sword. But they explain it really well in the show. Actually, it makes for a really awesome segment, which I'm going to play right now.
You are familiar with the thought experiment, the ship of Theseus in the field of identity metaphysics? Naturally. The ship of Theseus is an artifact in a museum. Over time, its planks of wood rot and are replaced with new planks. When no original plank remains, is it still the ship of Theseus? Secondly, if If those removed planks are restored and reassembled free of the rot, is that the ship of Theseus? Neither is the true ship. Both are the true ship. But I do not have the Mind Stone. And I do not have one single ounce of original material. Perhaps the rot is the memories, the wear and tear of the voyages, the wood touched by Theseus himself. I have not retained memories. But you do have the data. It is merely being kept from you.
So in this battle of Vision versus White Vision, kind of like the original Vision, well, kind of original, explains that he uses like the ship of Theseus analogy and philosophy to explain that how he and White Vision are actually the same, like they're both a true Vision, which I think it makes him one of my favorite characters and one of the most interesting characters in all of the MCU, frankly, to be honest, because if you think about it, he was actually there since the beginning, since Iron Man 1 as Jarvis, and then Jarvis' body came into to be the Vision, and that's how we get him. And now he transferred his memories, well, kind of like fake memories, but there's still the real Vision memories into White Vision, which makes him the true Vision. He even says like, "I am the Vision," and then he flies off into the air, back into the writing room. So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. It's like some kind of like Rick and Morty stuff where, there is no true Rick, there is no true Morty. We see him die a couple times, but what really makes Rick is his consciousness, which I think is a really awesome way. I think more movies and shows should play with this stuff because it kind of like makes people question what it makes a true character a true character. But anyways, that out of the way, let's go back to the show. I think it's time now to talk about the ending. I kind of covered like most of the plot points during the show, and the final episode wraps a lot of things up, and it did some things well, and it did some things wrong. So let's talk now about fake expectations. So a lot of people expected this show to have more cameos than it actually did. Some people were talking about, oh, Magneto is gonna come in because the other Quicksilver is here, the Quicksilver from the X-Men. He's in the show, so that means Magneto is going to come in. But that didn't happen. People thought Doctor Strange. I thought Doctor Strange was going to arrive at the end. He didn't arrive, and honestly, I don't think that's a big deal. I think some people kind of like expect things to happen, and then in the end, they don't happen. So a big reason people thought the show was going to introduce more cameos, including things from the other Marvel universes, is because of Evan Peters' Quicksilver. When he came through the door, I was like, oh my god, this is a game changer. This is like, they're bringing an actual character from the X-Men universe into the MCU. I was like, this is Disney, Marvel Studios using their newfound characters to create something amazing. And something happened, which I thought was a pretty insulting thing to the fans. I thought it was just a plain spit in the face to fans who thought that this was going to be like the bridge between those universes, because now this Quicksilver is actually revealed to be just a normal guy. Like Evan Peters' character in the MCU is a normal guy transformed into the Quicksilver.
Agnes doesn't live here. You do. You're Ralph Boner?
Boner.
Yeah, no, that doesn't work at all. Yeah, this is not good at all. I thought this is like the equivalent of, in Spider-Man No Way Home, like Tobey Maguire, like the actual actor, arrives on scene, opens his shirt, reveals a Spider-Man suit, like full-on Spider-Man suit, takes off his clothes, he's in a full suit, he puts his mask on, and then suddenly, the real Spider-Man arrives, they exchange some words, and then the police arrive, arrest Tobey Maguire, and they're like, "Oh, that was not a Spider-Man. That was just a guy pretending to be a Spider-Man." And then they show his ID, and it's like, "Yeah, he's Toby X, whatever some name." And then the scene ends like that. I felt it was equivalent. Maybe not as bad as that. That would be a pretty even more insulting, but still, you get the idea of what I'm trying to say. Like, this is not, I don't think it was a good idea to use Quicksilver in this way, just be some random dude that Wanda was controlling, including like being played by Evan Peters, which is the Quicksilver in the X-Men universe. So yeah, that's what I thought it was a bad idea. But overall, the final episode on its own, I thought it was a good conclusion to the series in itself. Like, I think WandaVision overall, like the whole 9 episodes, are good on its own. Like, it's a good like standalone Marvel story. But I think in the context of the whole MCU, it sucks. Like, I think it didn't really connect well with the future of the MCU and like the other characters that exist. But it did a good job like connecting to Wanda and Vision's past and their story, their aftermath after Avengers Endgame. I thought it did a good job at that. But at the other things, I think it failed, and that kind of like takes away some points from the overall series. But yeah, now I'm gonna conclude. I think I enjoyed the series. I loved my time with it. I think it was a great close to Wanda and Vision's story, which I don't think it's over yet. I feel like something is gonna happen with Wanda on her own first with Doctor Strange, discovering her magic powers, and then White Vision is gonna come in somehow, and they're gonna reunite. So I don't think this story is over. But yeah, overall, WandaVision is great, and I think I'm gonna give it an 85 out of 100. And yeah, I think that's everything for today. That pretty much covers all my thoughts on the series, and I'm gonna leave it like that. So thank you all for watching. I'll see you later. Have a great day.